maybe just give us a little bit of background of who the company is and what they do.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you very much at first for inviting me to your show.
Thanks for coming on.
GHH, very complicated to pronounce name, Gute Hoffnungshütte. What is a classical German name? Actually goes back to the 1700s.
Oh.
Our company on its own was formed in 1964. It's a privately owned company, and we are belonging to a group of mining houses who are all operated in Germany and belonging to one company called Schmidt-Kranz Group. We are specialized on underground equipment for trucks and loading, so that means transport specialist. We are operating globally. Our main production facilities are in Europe and Southern Africa. We're also doing drilling equipment, drill rigs for mining and for tunneling. In our operations, you will see us in Latin America in the same way as in Russia. You see us in Southern Africa as well as you see us in India, and also nowadays here in North America.
So is North America then a new market for you?
North America is a new market for us. North America, we actually entered with a legal entity only mid-2017. So we are
really new.
We are relatively new on the market here. To be very frank, we followed one of our European customers who had acquired 2 salt and potassium mines in Canada as well as in the United States. And that's one of the reasons why we decided to be in Toledo, so that we are able to service these 2 mining houses from one position out.
Oh, so you entered the market with a customer, and now basically using that relationship, you've entered the market, and now you're expanding out and finding new customers in the Canadian and.
That is exactly the case. So when we took the decision to go into the North American market, we had carefully chosen where we'd like to be and what should be the next steps. So definitely our customer had acquired a couple of products already. So we're providing service to these 2 mines in Ojibwe in Canada as well as Fairport in the US. But for us it was given from day one on that we'd like to extend also into the hard rock market in Canada, but also in the underground limestone operations in the United States. Right. So that means with the investment we have taken it here and the decision, we wouldn't like to stay quiet and like to be only in the backyard of somebody else. We got our own plans to be it here. Right. Definitely we know that Canada is a very well-established market. There are certain others who are swimming in the same pond. But nevertheless, we believe that the products we can offer, like our trucks and loaders, they're absolutely state-of-the-art, and we are not feared about any type of keeping up a competition with others.
Well, the company's been around, you said, since 1964.
1964, correct.
So one of our topics that we talk about when we're talking about mining is the technology. Did the company start out as underground mining equipment, or how has it changed over the last 60 some odd years?
Now, look, originally the company GHH was formed as an entity of MAN Group. MAN, these large conglomerate nowadays known for trucks on street operations, so that means normally road legal type of equipment. In the mid-60s, MAN was owning in Germany blast furnaces. They got their own steel operations. They had owned mines worldwide. They also decided to do mining contracting at that time. But over the years, the market had drastically changed. The companies had decided we specialize ourselves. We do not have to be backwards integrated, so therefore I do not have to be in the ownership of an iron ore mine to buy some iron. That's what they did in the past. And GHH was formed originally to transport big heavy loads on steel, but also heavy loads on hot steel, what you're normally using in blast furnace operations. Later on, they decided then to go into the field of trucks and loaders for the underground application. For a while, we also produced airport carriers. So, for example, we built the first one to carry the A380. Oh. We sold that nowadays, but still, something to tell you, we are not only using mining equipment, we have built up our knowledge also from other industries.
Yeah. Do you still? So are you still in? Do you still have mines in operation now, or is it purely an equipment company at this point?
We as GHH are a purely equipment OEM, but a sister company of us is actually digging salt That means we are in the eastern part of Germany where we are operating our own salt mine, and that gives us the unique opportunity that you have a chance to test your equipment in a real mine. There's a couple of others in the market who are also claiming on that they have a test facility. Yeah, but I would call it a test facility. We have a mine. That's the difference.
That's a good one.
Actually, that led me to something I was wondering, though. Is this equipment, is it specialized for a particular type of mining, or like you mentioned about trying to enter into the hard rock mining?
Yeah, look, we are in the hard rock for years and years. So if you see it, for example, here on this brochure, we got different type of color codings. So everything what is yellow is actually for the soft rock industry, and everything what you see in white is for the hard rock industry. And we are servicing them since years and years. But nevertheless, we have specialized ourselves in so-called low-profile equipment. The potassium seams, as you have them in Europe, they are relatively low. So we have to develop equipment what allows you to carry up to 20 tons in a maximum machine height of 1.6 meters. So that's what we are specialized on. And then we did the step over to South Africa. When you're coming from a low-profile application, you can imagine there's a logic step to go into gold, silver, but also platinum in South Africa, and that's where we formed our GHH mining machines, where we are servicing particularly the gold and platinum industry in Southern Africa with our own production on site.
So the differences are the profile of the machines generally?
That's definitely the profile. So each and every of the OEMs in the field of LHDs and dump trucks, they're having similar size classes. So you're talking about, for example, a 14-ton machine. We're just having here a brand new machine on the market. It's called the LF14. A unit what has a transport capacity of 14 tons. You will see similar product sizes from others. So we are talking here about what can you transport, what can you carry in the given time period. And one shovel load tells you it's 14 tons, or you have something with 20 tons and you got your corresponding dump truck of 42 tons, or you have even up to 65 in smaller mines as you would have them in Latin America. You're operating only with small equipment of 5 tons as an LHD and then 15 tons as a dump truck.
A couple of questions I had in addition is, one being a German-based company, you come into a new market. So one is, well, two-part question really. What are the challenges, and one of the ones that I hear about from overseas companies trying to get into the market is servicing the machines. So what are some additional challenges of getting into a North American market, U.S., Canada, and how do they get serviced? Machines, do you have multiple locations here, or how does that?
Yeah, okay, let's start with the second part of your question on how we are servicing the equipment. So we have our own service technicians in the company. So we are able to have people based here in North America. It's not that we have to fly them in and out from Europe. When we decided to enter the market here, it was a very clear understanding, without being able to provide necessary service, we are not existing. To your first question on what are the challenges of entering such a market here, we have to recognize that we are entering a relatively well-established market. We are entering a market, particularly here in Canada, where your legislation over the last years had drastically changed. So from simply having equipment on board with whatever type of diesel engines you'd like to use, up to we banned diesel and we are only going for alternative energies. So in this spectrum, you're operating. So the old Sudbury doesn't exist any longer. So with the way of Inco left and Vale came in, there's a drastically change also happened in the center of your mining industry. And for us as a newcomer here, the difficulties is to really understand how the market is getting replayed and how you're entering in. So what you have to do is you have to understand, you have to break through an established supply chain.
Right.
And you can win that only in quality of your product. You can win these in terms of your equipment might be lasting for longer, you might be better performances or lower operating cost. But in any case, for the mining industry, these like to be proven at first. So you can easily hold up your brochures and say, guys, that's what we can do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you have to demonstrate that you're capable to do so.
And would you say that this as I mean, obviously you're here representing the company, but what is their advantage? Is it that they last longer? I mean, well-built machines. What's their sort of market advantage that would pull somebody away from a machine they're using here and switch over to them?
Yeah, look, you get from us two types of machines. You can have a highly sophisticated one with automated drivetrains. You can have it with data control. You can have preemptive maintenance stories and all of that. It's available. You can also go into fully autonomous operated machines, but you also can have simply hydraulically controlled equipment. So depending on the skill sets of your end customers.
Oh, I see.
So if I look into different type of markets, I would suggest, yes, there's an acceptance for modern technology or even high tech. Canada is definitely a market who is prepared to take it. If you would go to other parts of the world, I wouldn't like to call it third world countries, but there are definitely markets where a simplified, robust type of equipment gives the customers a bigger advantage than the high sophisticated, complicated type of equipment. So back to what we as GHH do, we are offering both. So we are prepared to go in the high end, as well as we are prepared to service the normal type of mining houses who are not looking for complex machines.
The topic of this podcast is about new versus used. When you're selling new, I mean, there's so many advantages to new. Obviously, it's going to be cleaner. You're not going to run into as many issues with it, hopefully. But what would you say the main advantage, even selling to a country that is looking for simplified machines? A lot of times they are ordering in used equipment and then rebuilding it and tearing down an old plant or bringing in LHDs that are that they're going to remanufacture. What is the main advantage, would you say, to new, even in any market?
Look, it's a little bit like in your private life. Something new has a different value than something is used, even that you might get the same warranty on it. The benefit is if you're buying something new, you can be assured that you have state-of-the-art equipment, components. In terms of maintenance, you have still access to all the used components. If you work with a used machine, and let's say used starts from something like 5,000 hours, that means around about a year's in operation, up to machines who are 3, 4, 5 years in operation. You might be experiencing an issue that not all parts are available. You have definitely engines on a different emission class. So we are talking nowadays in Europe about already tier 5. What is the highest emission class you can foresee at the moment versus and still air-cooled machine what has a totally different emission class on it. So when we are as an OEM delivering brand new equipment, we are also going the way and offering retrofits and rebuilds to our customers. So in rebuild, what you do is you take the machine back from one of your clients. It doesn't mean that you have to buy it. He might be overhanded to you and asking you for an update. That means you can revitalize a used machine and give them still a shelf life of, again, 70% of the original lifetime.
Right.
So that means you give them a second life. That works. Benefit here for the customer is definitely that a part of the big capital investment he did years ago is extended. And it's more into the OPEX type of cost for him versus the front-up CapEx, what you do. And every time depends also a little bit on where you are in the cycle time in the market. Is the market CapEx or OPEX driven?
Right.
That depends.
Yeah, well, the thing that struck me too, as you said, is because you can fit it for the machines for different markets, even if they're buying a new machine, you do provide a simplified one that allows them that flexibility to essentially work on their machine themselves. And is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, as opposed to the higher end machines that are going to a lot more computers and
Yeah, look, you have to accept different markets, and you have also different skill sets of operators. Assumingly here in Canada, you have access to relatively well-educated group of people. If you're going with this type of equipment into other mining areas, name it, you're going somewhere in Central Africa or you're going somewhere in Central Asia, you might doesn't find these type of skills. So you have to adjust yourself to how you can provide a system what gives the best efficiency for the end user. And efficiency is, as you know, a combination of availability, of robustness, of time, of reliability. And if you count them all together, you can get it in once by high sophisticated operation, remote controlled, one operator runs 2 machines, all of these is available. Or you have to go into another market where might be the government is forcing to employ people. So if you are offering a system what reduces the amount of people in the underground world, and in the parallel you have a government who's forcing to get employments done, you're staying in a conflict. And therefore you have to be able to offer both, depending on the markets you'd like to provide.
I guess, and in some cases too, if you, going back to the people that are trained for this high-tech equipment, spending more money doesn't necessarily get you a better product for their what they need. If they go and spend millions of dollars on machines that they can't operate.
Yep.
And what is the price difference between a machine that can move the same amount of material, a high-tech machine as opposed to a simplified machine? Is the price, is it 100% price difference? What is the range?
No, you're not talking about 100%. You're talking about 30-something%. That might be the difference. You can have very highly sophisticated types where you might be getting up to 100%. That also is possible, but that means you might have a machine who doesn't require any longer an operator on at all. And then you definitely are able to charge a different value, but also the cost of the machine is different. And you have to keep in mind the cost of developing it to maintain the equipment. You see it, for example, how difficult it is for the automotive industry when they're talking about running autonomously operated machines and equipment. We do it in the mining industry already since a couple of years, so others are still talking about it. We are using it already. And we definitely doesn't have the funds available like the big automotive companies of this world.
Right, yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got a booth to run and people to talk to, so thank you very much.
No, thank you for your time.
Yes.
Thanks, and have a good day.
Thank you so much.
All the best, and please enjoy your shows here.
Yes, you too.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Have a good one.